There is a specific kind of tired you might recognize. Not the tired that comes after a hard week, not the kind that a good night of sleep fixes. This is the tired that shows up on a Sunday evening when you have worked all week, delivered everything that was asked of you, stayed reliable and capable and present, and still somehow feel like you move sideways instead of forward. You know exactly what you have done. You cannot quite name what is missing. That feeling is what I want to sit with today. Not because it is dramatic, it is actually the opposite of dramatic. It is ordinary. It is Tuesday morning tired. It is the quiet kind that gets buried under the next task before you have had a chance to look at it honestly. And the people who tend to feel it most are usually the people nobody worries about. I have been sitting with this idea for a long time, and the frame I keep returning to is not about discipline or laziness at all. It is about something more uncomfortable than either of those. What happens when working hard becomes the thing that keeps you safe? Not the thing that moves you forward, the thing that protects you from having to find out something you are quietly afraid to find out. Most people who feel stuck inside this pattern are not stuck because they are not trying. They are often the people trying the hardest. They answer messages early, they stay late, they take on more than they should because they are dependable. And they have always been dependable. And somewhere along the way, dependability became less of a choice and more of the only version of themselves they knew how to offer. From outside, they look like the definition of someone going places. And from the inside, well, the inside is a different story. What I keep noticing watching this pattern over time is that the exhaustion does not arrive after the failure. It arrives after the success, after delivering the thing on time, after being praised for it, after doing it correctly again the way you always do. As if the competence itself carries a quiet weight nobody ever thinks to name. You are allowed to notice that. I want to say that plainly, because this particular kind of tiredness is almost never named out loud. The person who always delivers is not supposed to find the delivering exhausting. But that is exactly what makes it invisible, and exactly what makes it compound, quietly, over years. Here is something worth asking early. When was the last time you worked at something where the outcome was genuinely uncertain? Not uncertain because it was hard, uncertain because you had not done it before. The standard explanation for this kind of exhaustion is burnout. Too much on your plate. And I have come to distrust that framing a little. Not because it is wrong, but because it stops too early. Burnout describes what you feel. It does not touch why doing well still feels like going nowhere. Those are different questions, and collapsing them into one word means the thing underneath never gets looked at. There is something in the research on skill and learning that keeps pulling me back. The evidence tends to suggest that the hours you spend repeating what you already know how to do not build much new capability. When your mind recognizes a familiar task, it moves into a kind of automatic mode. You are producing, you are technically showing up, you are putting in the time. But the growth, the kind that actually shifts what you are capable of, that seems to require something most people are quietly trying to avoid. It requires doing something you might fail at. Not catastrophically, just something in the range of genuine uncertainty, stretching just past what you can already do comfortably, without collapsing into what feels impossible. That is, I think, a genuinely strange idea if you sit with it. And I am still not entirely sure I have the right language for this. But what I keep landing on is something like this. A life organized entirely around competent performance may be the most efficient way to run in place that has ever existed. Read that again if you need to, because the uncomfortable thing about it is how respectable it looks from outside. You are not wasting your days. You are working hard. You are producing. And quietly, underneath all of that, the part of you that could actually grow is not being used.
The cost of this is not abstract. I want to make it concrete. Imagine the end of a workday. It is past 6, the light has gone amber, and you are still at your desk finishing something. Not because it was urgent, because being the one still there is the thing you know how to do. Someone passes and says, "You are always here," and something in you settles. Not because the work mattered in that moment, because being seen as the reliable one settled something that has needed settling for a long time. You walk out into the dark and there is a particular kind of satisfaction, and also, if you are honest, a particular kind of loneliness you cannot quite locate. That settling is doing two jobs at once. We only ever talk about one of them. The job we talk about, capable person delivers results. The job we do not talk about, capable person does not have to face the specific exposure that comes with being a beginner at something new. The silent cause I want to name here is not burnout. Burnout gets visible eventually, gets treated, gets addressed. What I am talking about stays invisible for years. It is the version of you that never got to be a beginner again. The curiosity that went quiet because curiosity requires not knowing, and not knowing stopped feeling safe once you became the reliable one. The things you never tried because you were too busy being competent at what you had already chosen. Those are not small things. Those are versions of a life that got quietly decided by a protection you forgot you were wearing. There is something I find worth sitting with here. And I'll be honest that I find the dramatic version of this story less interesting than the quiet one. A child makes mistakes to find the right answer. The attempt and the failure are the same action. At some point, most of us stopped treating it that way. We started treating failure as evidence of a problem rather than evidence of a reach. I used to think that shift was about fear. I am less sure of that now. I think for a lot of people, it happened because at some point, being seen not knowing stopped being safe. And everything that has happened since has been one long, careful arrangement to make sure it never has to happen again. The one honest movement I want to offer is not a system overhaul. It is one question worth sitting with this week. Is there anything in your current days that you are genuinely not good at yet? Not something you are bad at and avoiding, something you are choosing to be a beginner at. If the answer is no, that is not evidence of mastery. That may be evidence that somewhere along the way, working hard became less about moving forward and more about staying safe inside what you already know. If something in this specific piece landed for you, you already know what to do with it. If there is someone in your life who has always been the capable one, the one nobody worries about, this might be the thing they have never had language for. There is another part of this I have not written yet. The specific kind of rest that is actually different from avoidance. I am still thinking through that one. But it is where I am going next. You have worked hard enough to earn the right to not know something new. That version of you has not gone anywhere. It has just been waiting for you to give it something it has not done before.